Right, hello everybody. Thanks for watching again. I'm Derek Thomas, hypnotherapist, stress management consultant. The disclaimer: the advice I give is for informational purposes only and not meant to treat or diagnose any medical condition. So today's discussion is fear of failure. Okay, definition of fear of failure is, or definition of failure is lack of success. Okay, so that's not exactly even the same for everybody. Are you a glass half empty or a glass half full kind of a person? A salesman can sell, an X amount of a product, and it might be a lot. But if it doesn't match a certain threshold, then it could be considered a failure. Is failure, if we're talking about, fear of failure in the bedroom, is not getting an erection or ejaculating too quickly failure? What's your threshold? Is not getting an erection for a defined period of time or a certain amount of time, or is failure not giving your partner an orgasm? Okay, so from a business standpoint, there's a lot of rich and famous people that have had failures in their lives, but moreover, every successful person has had failures, on their way to success. So even if we're talking, in the bedroom, what's your definition of failure? It's good advice in general to, experience failures on your way to success. But in the bedroom, what are you really afraid of? Okay. If you're afraid of not getting an erection or ejaculating too quickly, where does that fear, or do you go into everything with a general, fear of failure? So, is it just performance anxiety? Maybe you've experienced not getting, experienced erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation before, but is your fear of failure just from performing, or do you go into all things with a fear of failure? Okay, important distinction there. So again, where does that come from? Is it a recent memory? Is it a distant childhood memory? Did you have a critical upbringing? Did you experience trauma? Do you self-sabotage or avoid situations? How's your self-esteem? Have you ever felt a sense of shame? And really important is, how's your confidence? How confident do you feel on a daily basis going into anything? So are you afraid of just disappointing yourself or letting down others, your partner, or both? Do you tell yourself ahead of time that you're going to fail? Because if you expect failure, you're more likely to fail. If you expect success, then you're far more likely to succeed. So, and another important thing is, are you trying to be perfect? Because perfection and fear of failure are very similar. So if you don't do something because you think you're not going to do it perfectly, then do you just give up and not even do it at all? So do you consider that failure if you don't do something perfectly? So it seems to me the best way to overcome a fear of failure is to see any improvement, as a success or a win, and then build on that success. So if you can't get a complete erection, that's something. If you can only get an erection for a little bit of time, short period of time, then go with that. You gotta start somewhere. Use every success as a building block. So what do you think will happen? If you meet your definition of failure? Okay, so what's the worst thing that could possibly happen? Okay, so it might realize that that's an unpleasant thing to talk about, thinking about worst case scenarios, but do you really think the worst case scenario is going to happen? Chances are it won't. Okay, let's say you don't get an erection. Is there another way to please your partner? Or you have premature ejaculation. Are there other ways to please your partner? There definitely are. And in a lot of cases, even just snuggling and hugging work. So, and there's of course many other things. So there was a study. It was a small study about people with general anxiety disorder, and they were asked for 30 days to list every day the things that they were afraid would happen, and something like 91% of of participants in the study, you know, didn't experience any of the things that they were afraid of. And then the other 9%, those that did experience things that they had listed to be, you know, afraid to fail, or, you know, worse things that could happen to them, were far less worse than they thought it was going to be. Okay, so if things don't go as planned the first time, you know, do you even have a contingency plan, you know, for whatever it is? You know, if you can't get in direction, then what else can you do to please your partner? You know, like it says, little tips, just snuggling and cuddling can go a long ways, you know. So another important thing to recognize is how much stress, anxiety, or even depression are you experiencing in your life. You know, those things can have you know, vast implications on what happens in your life. You know, so you know, what's your view on stress or anxiety, and how do you personally cope with that stuff? Okay, do you cope in a positive manner, or do you cope in a negative manner? Okay, do you drink, or you know, involve yourself in risky behavior? Do you smoke, drugs, all that good stuff, or not good stuff, actually? So I have some pretty good videos on that. Have a look, the difference between anxiety and stress, and things you can do to help yourself manage those things better. So have a look at those videos. Also look at you know, what underlying conditions do you have? You know, again, stress, anxiety, depression, confidence, your self-esteem. Do you have weight issues, blood pressure? You know, have you seen a doctor lately about any physical issues? You know, so and what can you do to get past those or other psychological issues? You know, how much sleep do you get at night? You know, there was something about I just read recently, if you get like less than 6 or less hours of sleep for, you know, like a week straight, it's considered you know, you could be, it's comparable to you know, mental retardation, because it can really mess you up inside. So you know, how much sleep you get, you know, sleep can really affect your confidence, you know. And if you're so if you are confident, you know, you're much less likely to have a fear of failure too. So and then it's also an excellent idea, in my opinion, to redefine failure. Again, you know, do you see everything as a failure? Can you know, see all your little successes as just that, and then build on those successes? So, and you know, basically, don't tell yourself you're going to fail. You know, set goals and go from there. So your potential is like a rubber band, okay, but that doesn't retract. The more it stretches, you know, the more it can keep stretching. Okay, so your potential keeps expanding like a rubber band. You know, so in the case of erectile dysfunction or premature ejaculation, delayed ejaculation, you know, if you only last a minute or two, you know, set your goal for 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, there's plenty of techniques out there to just use without taking medications for, you know, premature ejaculation, or even erectile dysfunction. So set your goal to 2-3 minutes and build on that, whatever, you know. So, you know, what you tell yourself can have you know, vast physical effects on the outcome. So telling yourself a better story, putting better pictures in your head, you know, don't let that little voice inside your head get out of control. Tell yourself more positive and constructive criticism. Okay, so again, you know, if you tell yourself you're going to fail, you're far more likely to fail. If you tell yourself you're going to succeed, you're far more likely to succeed. Okay, so and then also, here's an idea. You know, communicate with your partner if you're having any kind of issues. You know, so many people don't do this or don't care. I don't know what's going on, but you got to communicate. You know, so. And a lot of people, even worse, you know, again, they don't even care. So they'll choose to say, not only maybe avoid, you know, to avoid communicating, but to avoid sex in the first place, you know, or even worse, both, you know. So they may even choose to voluntarily leave their partner, and it's crazy. I've seen people asking, oh, should I leave my partner because, or divorce my partner because I can't get an erection or something? It's maddening, you know. So you got to communicate. So, you know, have a growth mindset and don't judge yourself. Okay, we can punish ourselves far longer and worse than prisoners stay in jail for committing terrible crimes. Okay, so we're only as good as the thoughts we put in our head. Okay, so what we project to the universe comes back to us, right? So what we project to other people comes back to us. What we project to ourselves becomes reality. All right, so if you'd like to join one of my programs, click on the link below, and we'll have book a chat with me so we can discuss on how I can possibly help you. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out my homepage. I think there's a link for that below as well. Otherwise, thanks, and see you next time.